Hello and welcome back to BS with Bethany Simcoe. This is your host, Bethany Simcoe. We're sitting in my car right now. I am outside of the studio that I teach at, so we're just going to record a really quick episode while I'm waiting to go in. And right now, I am going to dive into my manifestation journey. So I have been hinting at this for ages. Since I moved to Hawaii, I feel like I've been on like a really interesting quote unquote manifesting journey, like learning how to make my mindset different, learning how to take back control of my own life. I've shared with you guys in depth about like my mental health journey. I don't know if probably pretty in depth. I've shared with you guys quite a bit about my mental health journey, and I just have felt so out of control for so much of my life, and I really am sick of feeling like that. Like, I am sick of feeling dread when I wake up in the day. I'm sick of feeling like a victim to my circumstances. I'm sick of being addicted to the feeling of being sad and feeling like a victim and insecurity. So I promised myself when I moved to Hawaii that I would do whatever it took to get my mindset better. I promised myself that I was like, I know I should be journaling. I know I should be doing yoga. These are things we know. People are like, oh, yoga, journal, meditate. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do a little bit of all the above. Sure. Do you really? Like, did I really? Did I really understand that? Did I really get that? Was I really holding myself up to a certain standard? Was I really finding ways to love myself and actually sticking true to that? The answer is not as much as I could have been. And not in a way to like shame my past self or to shame any actions that I've done, but it was just taking a real good look at myself and saying, let's be relentless with this. Let's find a new path and be relentless with this, because I am sick of getting to this point where I don't want to do this anymore. And in Austin, like the last few months I was there, I was like, this cannot be all that I meant for. Just working and working out and going to sleep and feeling like crap. Like, this cannot be all that I meant for. What was I made for, right? Like, hello. And I think that there are times in your life like that that are pivotal. They are placed in your path to give you a wake-up call to say, we got to change. We got to figure out something else because this is not working. So I moved to Hawaii and I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And the way that I actually started like my manifesting, like, I don't know, I'm going to call it my manifesting journey. The way that I started with that is one day I was going to a cycle class and I had just gotten like back in my car, and a TikTok from my ex-best friend came up on my For You page, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, I haven't heard from this girl in ages, and I totally forgot I even followed her. And so I was like, okay, interesting. So I went and like scrolled her page, and she just like talked and talked and talked about like protecting her energy, and she talked about like some manifesting stuff. And here's the absolute tea. I was kind of mad because this girl had completely ghosted me in a time where I really needed her, because I set boundaries, because I protected my own energy. She ghosted me. And I was like, no, you are not gonna know. Like, if you can preach this, if you can do this, I can do this. Okay. If you want to get all up, but I was literally having a fight with her in my head. And I was like, if you want to be up on your high horse, like, I'm going to figure it out too. Like, I'm going to figure out what this whole situation is. If you can do it, I can do it. And it was honestly the best thing that's ever happened. Okay. My ego may have gotten involved, but guess what? It drove me to this new path. So there is such a reason that girl's video came up on my For You page, because the universe knew that it'd take a little bit of a kick in the butt for me to start searching things out. I had to do it out of a little bit of spite, and the universe knows me really well. So I looked up manifesting podcast, and like, that's it. I was like, on my way home, I was like, this is it. I said to myself, I have to get on this journey. I have to figure this out. Where do I start? And I just searched manifesting podcast. The first thing that came up was Your Manifesting Bestie by Flora Sivos, and my life in that moment changed. Things for me in that moment have never been the same in the best way possible. Genuinely, I'm so glad that I was triggered enough to be like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to figure this out, because what the heck do you mean by this? Like, this is bull crap. It was so funny. So it took me being triggered by something to go figure out a new life for myself. It is such a strange bridge of incidents where how things happen. And now I don't want to say that I have figured things out, because does anybody really figure anything out ever? No. So I would say that I've like figured out the magic button or figured out exactly how to do things. I'm a manifesting queen, but I am happier. I will say that I am happier. And isn't that what we're all in search of? Isn't that the whole reason that we are wishing for different things. We want a new car because we think it'll make us happier. We want a new house, a better income, a better relationship. Isn't that like the whole reason that we're trying to manifest new things? Because we think that they're going to contribute to our definition of happiness and success. Right now, I am experiencing a level of happiness and just internal peace that I didn't know could be sustained. I didn't know that this even was available to me, especially on like a long-term basis. So I've just been feeling a calmness, a clarity, a peace that I am unbelievably grateful for, and that I wasn't even aware was available. And I want you guys to know that there is more peace than you think is available. There is this level of sustained internal clarity that I would not trade for anything. And the beautiful part of it is it has momentum, and emotion has inertia. So when you start to get on this path, it's gonna take a second. And I'm gonna go through my top 5 tips on how to get started in this journey, because we all internally want to have this control over our lives. I think that we all are wanting to find a better path. But where in the mother freak do we start? Like, how do we get on this path? That was my question. I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I searched up Manifesting Podcast. And from that journey, I've learned to take control of my life, responsibility of my life, and it has sucked. A lot of it has been really painful. When people say, like, oh, you got to do the work is sitting with yourself, doing that shadow work, really investing in your own energy, taking time to sit with yourself and cry, and becoming in tune with yourself when there's that anxiety, there's that buildup, and having the courage to sit down and say, I've got a busy freaking day, but right now I have to sit down and I have to cry this out. I have to sit down with my hand on my heart, allow myself to cry, allow myself to do some yoga, and get onto my day. Even though I don't feel like I have time for this, it's really inconvenient, it's uncomfortable, I don't want to sit here and cry. For me, a lot of releases have come when I have been like, you know what, I have to put away work right now. I have to put away my to-do list, whatever it is, and I want to go. But in this moment, I need to find my mat, I need to find a quiet place, and I need to breathe, and I need to just let it out, and I need to talk through those insecurities. I need to talk through those limiting beliefs that are like, you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing, you are insecure, you're naive. Those little things that are running through the back of your mind, those aren't yours. And that's what I'm learning. Those aren't your thoughts to hold. That's not your shame to hold. And I started this journey for like that rich girl lifestyle, and my main thing that I wrote down was to buy a Porsche. And that's why I started this journey. I was like, I want to be like that rich girly, I want to drive a nice car. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this journey, and I'm going to watch all these things come into my life, right? I had the whole vision board. When you think of manifesting, you think of vision boards. It is an immense amount more than that. It is unbelievably more than that. Like, screw the vision board at this point. For me, there's more. For you, there is more. And it's not, half the time, it's not even something you can put on your vision board, because you don't even know what's coming for you. Maybe I get a better car than that, right? Like, maybe there's something better for me than that. And maybe the universe knows, and not maybe, the universe knows exactly what's going to make me happy and exactly what is going to light me up. And it's not always something you can predict. And it's not just about a vision board. And it just cracks me up that, I'm going to go into this for rich girly, and now I'm healing generational trauma. How did we get here? I'm feeling a little duped, excuse you, but I'm going to go through my 5 top tips for manifestation and this little journey that I've been on. I'm going to briefly go over them right now and maybe talk a little bit more about like my journey, the effects that I felt of it, some limiting beliefs that I've had to work through. And then every week this month, I'm going to expand on my top points. So I've got 1 through 5. I think that steps 1 and 3 are a little bit similar, so I might group them into a week. So maybe we'll say for the next 4 weeks. We've got today, I'm going to introduce everything to you, and then the next 4 weeks, I'm going to do a full podcast episode on each step to really go in depth and share everything that I know to give you a starting point. And then after that, if you want more information, I have already started recording an entire self-concept program. I'm like 8 days into it. And so every morning it's basically like a little intro video. And I've tried to keep them little, but you know me. I am a chit chatter. I'm gonna yap. So the videos have ended up being like anywhere from 10 to like 20 minutes long. So every morning you can throw it on like a little podcast. It's gonna be available to my subscriber girlies first, because this is something that I want you to be serious about. And I think that by having a level of commitment to it, you're going to be able to have more commitment to yourself. So if you want more after this month, then come join us on that. I'm going to release the program after this month, and we're really going to take it step by step. We are diving into your self-concept, figuring out a new version of you to step into and how to apply all of this, because I'm going to throw so much at you right now. And I feel like a lot of like what I've been learning, I'm like, slow down, please. I need a second. So I'm going to take it from a day by day approach. This right now is just very conceptual, and I'm going to take it from conceptual to how can I make this a daily practice. I won't say that like I'm an expert on this, but I will walk you through the daily routine that I have been finding a lot of success with, and I've been finding a lot of joy and peace in. And I wish that I had like a little day by day, step by step guide for this. So we're going to start off with the fact that you are responsible. And we all know that, but do you accept that? There's that quote, what happened to you wasn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to change it, to take responsibility for it. You know the quote, right? It's your responsibility. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. Crap happens. What are you going to do about it? So you do have the power to change your life, and that can either be the most overwhelming thing or it can be the most freeing thing. And I go back and forth sometimes. On the days where I am feeling empowered, I have been drenching my brain in good things, and I've really been changing my self-talk, and I've been changing my trajectory. It feels like the most empowering things. And then on the days where I feel like I can't catch a break, and where things don't seem to be going well, or when my emotional state has downward spiraled instead of upward spiraled. And in the program, I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the feeling and energy chart, like the energy spiral, and how to move through that. But the days when I'm on the lower end of things, it feels like the most dreadful thing. Like it feels like a punishment that I have to be the most responsible one. That I'm like, do I really? Like, I wasn't the one that created the situation. Why do I have to work this out? Why do I have to figure this out? Why do I have to wake up every day feeling like this? Why can't my life be better? Why do things never go my way? And that's the victim mentality. And it is so hard to break out of that. And I have so much compassion for anybody in that situation. Compassion for myself, for you guys, because I think it's natural sometimes for us to be in that victim mentality, but our human nature, like what we're meant for, is the opposite. We're meant for a life where things feel achievable, where things feel comfortable and peaceful and happy. We're meant for that, but a lot of our nurture has brought us into the victim mentality of things. And a lot of what we see, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? Why can't it be different? Instead of, wow, this really, really sucks. What am I going to do about it? And oh, guys, it's so hard. And when you start making these changes, the people around you don't want to budge. It's so interesting. Like, I've experienced some relationships where I haven't seen them for a few months, and then I go back and hang out with them, and I just look at them like, did I used to talk like this? Did I used to complain constantly like this? And I literally will call myself out sometimes when I'm having a bad day. Oh my gosh, I can't believe my ice melted in my coffee, and now it's just like all watery, and my eyelashes just will not curl. And I remember one time I was getting ready on live, and everything I felt like was going wrong. I was getting ready for a photo shoot or something, and I was just not feeling very good. I was not feeling myself. I was not feeling confident, so I was nagging on myself. Oh my gosh, the straightener is not working. My hair will never straighten. Is it always this frizzy? Just like nagging on and complaining about everything. And I had to stop myself and go, why are you searching for reasons to complain? Get out of your head. Stop it. That's not you. That's not what you're meant for. And you are creating a worse situation for yourself. You got to stop being a victim, Bethany. You got to get out of that. And so many of us, I think, can relate to that, because when things don't feel right in our hearts, we search for external reasons to not make it right. I was feeling insecure, and I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was feeling tired. And I searched for every reason on the planet to sustain that feeling, to make that weight in my chest have a mental reason. So we have that thought feeling loop. We think something and then we feel it, and then we feel it, and then we think of a reason to be feeling it, and then we think about it, and then it creates a feeling, and then that feeling, we're like, oh, why do we feel this? Let's think of a reason to feel it. That loop, you have to interrupt it. You have to interrupt it. Nobody else can interrupt it. Nobody else can put the responsibility back in your hands. They cannot fix your attitude for you. And people get really triggered by this. It's a triggering process, and I know I've had many moments of feeling very triggered. And once you dive into this and you start to change your mind, it starts to become harder to listen to complaining. It gets harder to empathize and entertain people who are stuck in the victim loop, because you recognize it for what it is, and you just naturally want to teach them what you know. And you naturally want to say, that's really hard. What's the next step, right? And to anybody else who's not in your brain, who hasn't taken this journey, that sounds like toxic positivity. Like, that's what I've been learning through this, is things that I say I would have made fun of before. I would have been like, girl, that is so toxic. Like, what are you talking about? And in my brain now, I'm like, what is the point of wallowing in it? It happened. Crap happens. It is your job to sit with that. It is my job to sit with my crap. And there's definitely a difference between like venting and complaining, 100%. And it's also crucial that you know who you're talking to, that you know who you're venting to, that you know the space in which you are venting and the capacity of that space in which you are venting, and being mindful of complaining versus speaking about your feelings. I think that there's a huge difference. And in your heart, I think that each of us know that difference. But that is just so interesting to me that people have reacted very interestingly to this. When I've shared some knowledge, some people are like, this is amazing, I want more. And some people are like, I hate this. Like, I can't, it triggered, it's hard. And for me, I get that. It makes you want to run, because your heart is pounding and you're like, I don't want to accept the fact that my life sucks because I've allowed it to be that way. I hate realizing that. And so many times, like, it's exhausting. It's an exhausting process. And when I first started this, I was literally tired every day because my subconscious thoughts were like running in a certain loop. And in order to pull myself out of that loop and make every subconscious thought conscious, that takes so much energy. That takes so much courage. So give yourself the credit you deserve, because this takes so much courage. And when you do get triggered, we'll talk about ways to get out of that. So now that I have put all of that out there, and that we are each ready to take responsibility for our lives, let's talk about how to do that. Step number 1 is to start drenching your brain in information. Just dive in and immerse yourself in any content that you can find. For me, that was Manifesting Bestie. I listened to that like day in and day out. I finished every single episode that she had in like a month, because I was hungry for more. I was like, give me more info. Tell me everything you know. Give me all of your information, transplant it into my brain, please. And I noticed that when I was listening to her podcast episodes, that my energy was raised. I felt capable in my day. I felt so encouraged. I felt so empowered. And I started to look at the abundance around me. And I was like, when I listen to this, I feel like a better version of myself. I feel like a better person. And it encouraged me to come back over and over and over again and feel better in myself and feel happier in myself. And so find a resource that you can listen to. I highly suggest starting with that one. There's so much good information there. And any other manifesting podcasts that you can find, maybe look some up on TikTok. There are amazing ones. There are so many people who have gone through this journey, and they all know how to share it in their way. So find somebody that speaks to you in a way that you understand. And the more information you gather on this, the more clarity you'll have. And you'll start to make these connections about your own life. And you'll start to see situations where you're like, oh, I actually do have the power to change this. I actually can feel a different way about this. The more you hear it, the more you think about it in new ways. And then you'll be empowered to take the leap, to actually start implementing these things. There is genuinely no good time to start except for right now. And remember that you can trust yourself. The biggest thing that I can tell you is to trust yourself and trust the process. And the process is you. You are the process. You are the journey. You are the process. You are the prize. This is natural to your mind. Again, we have been kind of taught to complain about things, to maybe see things in a way that is negative of how can I blame somebody else for this? But it's natural for your mind to want goodness, to want light, to step into your divine nature. This is your nature. It really is. This peace, this calmness, this is why you're on this earth. Your soul was made for this. You are already good at what you do. You already have the power to do this within you, and you're already manifesting every freaking day. You cannot get out of it. You are manifesting every day, whether you like it or not, because manifesting is just a fancy word for show up. It's just pop culture term for the things that you think about show up in your life. It's just the law of attraction, okay? The way that you think is the way that your life is. It just shows up in your life. Your thoughts show up in your life. So taking that responsibility and really starting to observe your own thoughts is a hard but worth it process that you have every power to do. So just remember that this is working for you, and life is always happening for you, not just to you. And you are the power here. You have every power. You have every responsibility. You are already good at this. You already have the power to install new circuitry in your brain and to move forward with this. So I want you to start with that feeling of, you know what, I've got this. Because the biggest roadblock that you're going to find is when you start to think that you don't know what you're doing, when you actually do. I posted this on my little subscriber story, these little tips, and I grouped number 1 as drench your brain in information and number 3 as expand your knowledge. I think that those can be combined. Expand your knowledge frequently. Make this something that is a large part of your day. Read books that teach you about the power of your mind, how to shift your perspective, and not just, once a week, I'm going to read a few pages of this book. No, this is a daily practice. Let this be something that is a huge part of your day that you look forward to, that you always have in the back of your mind. You have it playing while you drive, while you make breakfast, while you're showering. Literally drench your brain in this. You are moving into a new timeline, and that's not something that you can take lightly. You can, right? You can take lightly. For me, I really enjoyed the experience of not taking this lightly. I enjoyed the experience of diving in and saying, all right, show me what's good. Let's get into this. Because once you learn this, you can't unlearn it. Once you start to figure these things out, you're full steam ahead in a new mindset. This is your new brain in the best way possible. And for me, it was so fun to learn new things. I'm like, give me more, tell me more. So here are some really good resources. In the first podcast episode I do that really dives into step 1, I will give you all of my favorite resources, all of my favorite books, but just start getting comfortable with the knowledge that you're responsible and find books and podcasts and resources that help you take responsibility for your mindset, for your habits, both things on a psychological level and a physical level. And a lot of the books that I will share with you guys will be for free on Spotify. That's how I've been listening to things. I use up my Spotify listening minutes, which I didn't even know you could do, but I use them up every month because it's so fun. This is a fun process, and I love that I get to share with you guys now because it is genuinely so fun, and I hope that you guys find the fun in it as well. So step number 2 is make it personal. You're going to hear a lot of stories in these podcast episodes and these books about people doing crazy things happening in miraculous ways, and you're like, okay, but how does this apply to me? Where do I come in? So make this personal. A lot of people are going to have affirmation tracks out there. You can always search up at morning affirmations. I can always make affirmation tracks if you guys want, but there's always going to be people making affirmation tracks, but nobody knows you as well as you do. Nobody knows your struggles as well as you do. So figure out what you're afraid of, figure out where you want to go in life, figure out what you like, and figure out what areas of your life you don't like right now, that you're not comfortable with, and insecurities that you have about who you are and who you want to be, and then record affirmations around that. So it doesn't need to be crazy. It doesn't need to be these long, in-depth, I am magnetic to every purpose. No. If you are feeling insecure about your presence in your friend groups, start to reframe your mind. And we talked a little bit about why it's important to reframe your mind in my luteal phase podcast. We'll go over the entire thing in my affirmations podcast episode. on why affirmations are so important, but if you are insecure about like a friend group that you're in, it will be pivotal to you to start making affirmations that are like, I am valued in my friend group. My presence is radiant. My presence is magnetic. People love to be around me. I feel confident when I walk into a new group. Just little things like that. Ways that you want to feel, things that you can affirm for yourself. And record it in a voice note, listen to it every morning, every night. That has been so pivotal for me. I recorded things about mental health, my relationship with social media, my stress around time management, like so many things. And the things that I said really started a shift in my real life. It was so cool to see. Now, step number 4 is to regulate your nervous system. And this should be step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then A through Z. Holy crap. This is so unbelievably important because, like I said, emotions have inertia. Once you're on this route of I feel good, it'll take a little bit more than usual for it to knock you back. Now, on the flip side, if you've been in a spiral of, oh, I can't do this, I feel miserable, I feel uncomfortable, I feel lethargic, like all of these, like a self-hatred spiral or a victim spiral or just like a sadness spiral. And I'm not saying these things like in a blaming way. They're just, an experience, just those emotions taking down a spiral. It is so hard to get yourself out of that. And if you've ever experienced that, you know those emotions build upon themselves and they have inertia to go downward. And it gets really, really hard to pull yourself out of it. You can't just, think positive thoughts. That doesn't always work when you're in that spiral. What does work is you have to slow down that spiral, bring it to a resting point before you can spiral it back up and start to send that energy back up into a more peaceful, calm, and clear state. The way to do that is by regulating your nervous system. Your nervous system is in overdrive when you are experiencing that anxiety and when you're experiencing those panic attacks and the insecurity. Your nervous system is firing on all freaking cylinders, trying to make sense of the world, trying to make sure you're not getting run over by a lion or a train or any of the above, right? Like, it's making sure that you are surviving. It's going to be really hard to turn that train around with positive affirmation. You have to stop the train first. And this looks like breathing, it looks like EFT tapping, it looks like yoga, it looks like humming, like breath work, and we'll go over all of those things. I went over them in my Luteal Fade podcast, but I think it'll be really nice to have a full nervous system regulation podcast episode because this is the most important thing. Even if you don't follow through with the rest of the program or anything else that I say, coming from a place of calmness and clarity into your day, things are just going to go better. When you feel your heart rate begin to slow and your mind begin to clear, it is so much easier to just naturally choose more positive, fulfilling, uplifting things and attract them to you. It's really hard for you to get impulses and downloads and good ideas from the universe and aligned action if you are pissed off and you're really mad at the world. So nervous system regulation, that is step number 3. I think I said 4, but it's actually number 3 because we combine 1 and 3. So anyways, that's step number 3. Okay, regulate your darn nervous system. Got it? We're all locked and loaded. This is essential to moving from survival to creation. And again, we'll go over all of this. Step number 4 is to create your ideal self. So we have figured out what we don't want to be. We figured out how to stop that downward spiral. Now, what's going to get us spiraling back up? Where do we even want to spiral up to? We can create anything that we want. We can create any life that we want to, because who are you? If you take away your friend group, if you take away your clothing, if you take away the city that you live in, if you take away the time, if you take away your work, who are you? If you take away all things, all people, all places, who are you? You are nothing. And that is the key. That is beautiful. That is exactly the point. Because so much of our identity is defined by the world around us, and the world around us is bull crap. We know that. Things are never as they seem. Perceptions are our reality, and we have to learn how to perceive new things. I think all of us on some level know that like so much of what we see is bullcrap. And I'll go over Joe Dispenza's teaching that only like 0.00001% of what we see is like actual reality. Those are actual physical things, and 99% of things going on we don't see because that's energy. I know it sounds a little woo-woo right now, but it will make sense. And I highly encourage you to go read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and The Placebo Effect by Joe Dispenza. Wonderful, wonderful books. Okay, they put the science in all of this. They put like the backing, the brain scans, all of the science behind the woo-woo. Okay. Anyways, so create your ideal self. I got off on a little tangent. Who do you want to be? Who is this person that you want to be? Feel empowered in this because you really can make this whatever you want. You can have so much fun with this. You can name your character. We'll go over naming your character. And step number 4 is really the basis of the entire self-concept program that I'm going to be going over. This is your chance to figure out who you want to be when you're moving into a new life, into a new world. You're leaving behind the old things that aren't serving you anymore. It doesn't serve you to be uncomfortable or insecure. It serves you to love who you are. And who is that? That's up to you. That's up to you to find out. So name this little character, give them attributes that you want, make them your ideal self. What do they do for work? What do they feel like on a day-to-day basis? What kind of friends do they have? How do they respond when people are rude? How do they respond when things don't go their way? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? What kind of partner do they have? Where do they live? And this is the new version of you that you are going to step into every freaking day. This is such a pivotal part because every morning you wake up, you're going to choose a character no matter what. You cannot get up and not choose a character. By thinking thoughts, by speaking words, by breathing air in and out, you are a certain someone. That certain someone has just been learned by you. You are literally just a massive amount of learned habits, which means you can learn new habits, become a new person, create a new reality, create a new personal reality. And if you listen to Joe Dispenza's books, you will understand a little bit more about what that means. But it just is so cool to me that we can genuinely learn ourselves into a new life. We can break and form new habits into a completely new feeling state, a completely new life. And step number 6 is practice makes freaking perfect. This is a daily practice. This is a daily lifestyle. This isn't, I'm going to manifest a new car. I'm going to manifest $100,000. I'm going to manifest a relationship. I'm going to manifest they come back to me. This is a daily practice. This is a lifestyle. It's a new mindset, and it's going to take a while for your brain to really lock into this. It's going to take a while for you to rewire your brain because right now your brain is wired in a certain way and it's based off of habit. There's no morality to it. There's no right or wrong way to think. There's just things that make you feel good and things that don't. And right now, a lot of the things that are making you not feel good are just because those are neural pathways that have been formed. Again, there's no morality to it. You are not better or worse of a person for having certain neural pathways. They're just neural pathways. So you have every responsibility to say, oh, I can let this go and form a new one. That's what's so beautiful about this is it literally is just letting go of the identity around it, letting go of the ego around it, and just allowing yourself to create something new. Because you can, because you have the power to, because it's your brain. You're the one who can fix it. Not fix it, change it. You're the one who can change it because there's already nothing wrong with you. But you don't have to feel depressed every single day. You don't have to feel lethargic. You don't have to feel like you are waking up pissed off about yet another day of yet more crap and the world's out to get you. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. And it is an everyday journey. The reason it's an everyday practice is because it's an everyday journey to rewire my brain, to stop feeling so overwhelmed and learn how to take courage and learn how to take responsibility and learn how to take the overwhelm out of it, because I think it is the greatest gift you can give yourself to feel empowered in what you can do. Feeling capable in your day, that's the greatest gift I feel like you can give yourself. Having a challenge and being able to say, you know what, I do know how to fix this. I actually can do this. Isn't that such an incredible feeling? And for me, I don't actually care at this point if I get the world's best car, the world's nicest house, the world's hottest husband. I don't care anymore because I'm just happy that I'm happy. I'm just excited that I feel better. And no matter what happens in the situation, even if maybe you don't manifest the exact thing you want, the worst thing that happens is you feel better. Like truly honest to goodness, because I just did this whole like visualization thing where I was trying to get this very certain apartment. And a lot of the teachings I had learned from like Neville Goddard, he speaks a lot about how to manifest very specific situations, and he teaches you to visualize it, to really experience it moment by moment. You are smelling the smells of this new place. You are touching the fabric of the carpet. You're feeling the rays of the sunshine through your new window. You are waking up here. You are experiencing your day. Like, you are there. And I did that. And you're supposed to fall asleep every single night, like in this new space. And you're supposed to experience this exact thing later on. And it's going to come to you on this crazy bridge of incidents you can't even predict. And I did that for a month. I fell asleep. I let my subconscious work on it. And it didn't work. And for me, I really had to battle that, because I was like, I swear to everything, I just did everything he just told me to do. I followed step by step. I fell asleep in the knowledge of it. I trusted. I made it feel like a fact. I put myself in the present. I didn't make it separate from me. I experienced it in a meditation, right? So why didn't I get that apartment? Well, the answer is that I got a better apartment. I got a 2-bedroom apartment for cheaper in a better location with everything I wanted. And so for me, the thing that I'm still battling is, where do things fit into place? Should I be visualizing very specific situations, or should I be trusting the universe to bring things that I'm not even aware of? Should I be visualizing the end? Should I be visualizing or just experiencing an end emotional state? Or should it be the entire sensory experience of the exact thing that I want? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. For me, I feel a lot more comfortable in letting God do God's job and letting the universe do the universe's job and bringing me the thing that is meant for me. And for me, my job is to trust. For me, my job is to find a higher emotional state. For me, my job is to be happy and learn how to hear impulses for aligned action. So I don't know how those other things work. I hear all of these miracle stories about people who call these exact things into their life, and it's this incredible like serendipitous moment. I don't know how all of that works, to be completely so transparent, but I do know that my day-to-day routine and my new meditation practices that I have been embracing, and my yoga practices, and learning how to trust impulses for my higher self, that is the daily practice that I'm interested in. I want to enjoy my life, find happiness, and just trust. I just want to feel good and trust and act where I'm supposed to act and be led and guided and see how good it gets. That's the journey that I'm on. So the worst thing that happens is I feel good. Like, genuinely great. If that is the worst outcome from this, but worst that happens is I feel good. Best thing that happens is I get everything I've ever wanted. So there's not really a downside here. Anyways, so step 5, practice. It's going to take a while for your brain to start to rewire. Don't get frustrated if you're not seeing results. The reason I brought up that story is because I felt frustrated that I wasn't able to manifest this exact situation like those people that I read about in the books. And yet I got a situation that I love even more. So I guess I'm not frustrated, I'm just confused. So this is where the patience comes in. For myself, for yourself, it requires patience and experimentation. It requires, I think, a lot of experimentation to start to figure out how your journey works. So make time every single day to listen to a book or read a book or listen to a podcast, to write down the new beliefs you want to embody. I highly, highly, highly suggest getting a manifesting journal where it's just blank pages that you can write down new beliefs you want to embody, questions you have, realizations that you're making, as you step into this new journey for yourself. So listen to your affirmations, meditate, regulate your nervous system, and it feels like a lot, but I'm going to try to help us find a starting place. This is kind of, if I had to start over, here's where I would start. And trust yourself that you are finding the right resources at the right time. This came across you at the exact right time that it was supposed to. The universe doesn't make mistakes. The universe is relentlessly working for our good. So the fact that you are coming across this information means that you have the tools, you have the resources that you need, you are prepared. This is the right time. You are at the right place at the right time. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. Like, this has been such a beautiful new journey of compassion for myself. And this week has been so interesting to continue that journey, because this week, since I got home from Utah, I just hosted workout in Utah, which has been amazing. That was so freaking cool. Also, my like reel about it is going very viral right now, which is so cool. It's at like 5.5 million views. I'm like, I didn't even know reels could do that. And then I also went to like a little Coachella type thing in Palm Springs with my besties, my Amazon girlies. I adore them. So things are going very well for me, career wise, housing wise. I just got that dream 2-bedroom apartment, and yet in my soul there was a lot of discontentment. This past week I have felt lethargic, I have felt overwhelmed, I have felt also underwhelmed, and I felt like there was some tension. And so this journey has given me the tools to sit with myself and to undo those knots, to listen to that inner voice that says, are we going to be okay? And I get to say, yeah, girl, we are, because we have the tools to do it. So this is a process that you learn over and over and over again. And it's not linear. You're going to have days that are amazing. You're going to have weeks that are amazing. And then you are going to have days and weeks that maybe aren't. And the beauty of it is that you're going to be okay through all of it. And you have the tools and resources, and it's going to be okay. So the next coming weeks, I will go in depth to these 5 steps. How many steps are there? 5, 4? We're going to keep going through the steps until we're done going through the steps. And then we're going to release a self-concept program, and I will see you then. I have to head in to teach my little booty and abs class right now, but I love you guys so much. What a journey. What a fun little time we've got together. And this has been BS with Bethany Simcoe. I will see you next week.